Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this video. This is Thomas from Rising Edge. We're watching the grid up here for Race 4 at Road America. This was the end of July 2025, the Summer Apex event, Grid Life GLTC. This is the last race of the weekend, and I'm really excited to share it because, not to spoil anything, but I think this is one of my best races in GLTC. I've been racing in the series for about 2 years. And it's not my first time in the top 10, but it is the first time that we've really put it in the top 10 on merit, more than circumstance. So I'm actually starting about P12 or 13 in this race. That's Carlos in the 83 right next to me there. He's actually a row ahead of me. And I'm in the number 84. They're both BMW E90s, pretty comparable cars, very similar. He's got a few more upgrades, but we're going to be about to start this race here as we climb up the hill. Road America, you got pretty tall hill to climb there as we get up to the start-finish line. And I learned the hard way from last year that I'm better off starting in second gear, even though it doesn't last very long, rather than being in the bottom of third, and so my starts have improved a good bit. But yeah, this race is a lot of fun. It's pretty cool because even in other circumstances where I found myself in the top 10, I was still pretty far behind the leaders. And in this case, towards the end of the race, they get away from me a bit and from Carlos a bit too, but we stay within eyesight of the leaders, and for me that was a big win. I'm usually more of a mid-pack racer, and as you can see here, we're trying to settle in a little bit, but there's still a lot of 2x2, but I moved to the left lane to try and defend into turn 5 here, which is a pretty popular passing zone. And in front of me on the left is Carlos. The right side car is the Toyo Tires Lexus of Daniel Gerardo. He's a pretty cool guy and fun to race around. That car's quick, especially because he's on our 888Rs, which is not a competitive tire in this series, but he makes the most of it. So Carlos has gotten by him. You can see the pack still up there. This is race 4, so it was the invert race. I don't remember how many cars inverted, somewhere around 7. But what's interesting about it is the front, 3 to 5 cars, they battle a lot, and it definitely slows them down, which allows us to stay with the pack a little bit more. But, it worked in our favor. So behind me, a couple of cars have gotten mixed up. Tom Panzarella and his Jetta was behind me. Now there's Ian Korth. That's not right. Blake Korth, I think is his name, in the Porsche. He used to be Aaron Lichty's car. They're battling behind me. There are a couple cars that started in the back that are fast and work their way through the field. But yeah, I've fallen back a little bit. Not too bad. I'm going to catch back up to these guys a little bit here in the next lap. But as you can see, the leaders are still there in the front. They haven't gotten away from us too bad. There's a lot of passing going on. I will say that after the event, it came out that series champion Matan Rosenberg and his Corvette, he was so much faster than everyone at this event that he was lifting and coasting a bit in order to maybe make it seem like the car wasn't quite as fast as it was. And like I said, with the dicing that was going on up there, it definitely slowed down the lead pack and allowed the rest of us to keep up with them a little bit more than normal, but still, we are here in the mix. At the moment, I believe I'm either 8th or 9th, which was good. Later on in the race, I do lose a couple positions. As you can see right now, I'm kind of in no man's land. There's quite a gap to the pack behind me. I've fallen behind Daniel a little bit as I get settled in. My car and Carlos's car were pretty well suited here. They don't have very good power bands for the series. However, they do have pretty good top speeds. I guess the drag is reasonable, and We were running around mid to high 230s for the horsepower. I think in this race my clam is 242 and I was making around 239 with a little bit of buffer. Top speeds were in the mid 130s, except in the draft. I think the highest speed I saw at this track was around 136 or 137. You can see here that the pack got backed up a little bit there, allowing me to catch up. Daniel's car, as you can see, is a handful in this carousel on his R888s. My car was pretty stuck through here, and my speeds, and particularly in that corner and the kink, which is the next corner coming up here, they were a lot higher than last year. Part of it is simply my familiarity with the track, but the other big change we made between Mid-Ohio, which was the event previous to this one, and this event is my car, we softened up the springs by a few hundred pounds pretty significantly, hoping to get a little more mechanical grip out of the car. It definitely helped. The car felt more gripped up than it had been, more compliant, especially on curb usage, but it didn't feel lazy or soft or undersprung or anything like that. So it was a big improvement, and of course just my familiarity and comfort level with the track was up a lot more. This is only my second time at Road America. So in my rear view you can see that a car has caught up to me pretty rapidly. That's Austin Hurdle in his 370Z with an LS motor. He is very fast. He's usually in the mix in the top 5, maybe top 8. Definitely one of the top drivers. I cannot recall why he started behind me in this race, but he definitely has pace on me. So he caught up pretty rapidly, and I do try to keep him behind me for a bit while I'm trying to stay with this pack ahead of me. But again, they've stretched that lead out a little bit. They're running, I don't know, maybe half a second a lap faster than me. So it really comes into these defensive moments that give me a chance to hang on, because when these cars go too wide in a corner, like Daniel's putting it on Carlos right at the moment, it definitely affects them and allows a car behind to catch up pretty quickly. And so this track has 3 straightaways that are all almost equal in top speed, and they are some of the highest top speeds that we see in the series, in the mid 130s, as I mentioned before. But it feels pretty hard on the car. Like, it's just like you're doing pull after pull after pull, and it was particularly hot this weekend, but my car was reliable throughout the weekend, and I felt pretty confident and drove consistently over the weekend. I was happy with it. Didn't have to mess with the car too much, didn't change the setup too much. Was just getting more familiar with the way that it drove on the softer springs. I was pushing the kink a little bit. I was in the low 110, 115 mile an hour range, and right here I have a little bit of a wiggle. Probably the biggest moment I had in the kink, and my little lack of confidence, I gave it the slightest lift, so Austin was easily able to pass me there. I'm sure it wasn't the most confidence-inspiring place to pass. Although being passed there, I knew it was kind of inevitable that he would get by me, so wasn't too worried about it. But that's a very high consequence corner. It's one of the fastest corners that I've ever experienced, and it definitely is a corner. It's not a non-event to go through that kink. I cannot do it flat in my car, at least with my level of expertise or confidence. I do have to make a little bit of a lift there. Not a full lift, not a brake application usually, but do have to come off the throttle. So you see me moving my hand around there. That's me putting my drink line into my mouth so I could get a little bit of a drink. This event, I just recall, I don't think it got to me in the car very much, but outside of the car, it was so hot. We were having to fight to stay hydrated and to stay mentally sharp and to have that motivation to continue to work on the car and everything. Yeah, basically peak summer. It was sunny, it was warm, it was dry. So I use a cool suit. It helps a lot. It keeps me calm in the car, being cooler, and keeps me more focused and comfortable. but I really like having a drink bottle in the car too. I don't typically get drinks during races. I usually do it before a race starts and then after on the cool down lap, but every once in a while, if I feel like I can, and with the long straightaways here, you can safely put the hose back in your mouth to get a little bit of cold water. So I've actually been able to stay with Austin a little bit better than I thought I'd be able to, which was cool. And as you can see, the lead pack is still up there. I've stayed closer to Carlos and Daniel, who fell back a little bit, but the lead pack is still in the same straightaway as us. And like I said earlier, that was just a big win. Felt like I was actually in the battle here. Ultimately, I think at the very end of the race, I want to say the margin to the leader was about somewhere between 10 and 12 seconds. So over a 15-minute race, they were averaging, let's say 3/4 of a second to maybe a second faster a lap. And traditionally, my gap to the leaders has been, two or more seconds a lap. So this was a race to be proud of, and I really was. But yeah, this track is fun. I can't say as though it was my favorite last year, but in hindsight this year, I think this was my favorite track. More based on the result than anything, but it is an interesting track. It's got a variety of different types of corners. It's pretty high speed. It has a lot of concrete walls and a lot of high stakes, high speed, high commitment corners. But at the same time, it's one of those tracks that has a decent amount of runoff. And the track is big and wide. It hosts almost every top professional series. So it is a safe track with plenty of runoff. You'll see here on the exit of turn 1, it's all paved out there now. It wasn't before. It used to have grass section, but the places where you can lose control, usually there's a good amount of runoff. There's a gravel trap on the outside of this corner, for instance. The next corner after this straightaway, which is leading into turn 5, that corner has some extra straightaway runoff. So there's bailout areas in this track. Now you can see in my rear view, that's Lewis Chatroop. He was one of the fast guys this weekend, really stood out with his performance. He was running easily in the top 10 all weekend. And he failed on the dyno, a compliance check, and only by a little bit, 1 or 2 horsepower. But he either got DQ'd or got penalized and moved back through the field. So he started this race pretty far behind me. And right now he's running a good 2 or 2 seconds a lap faster than me. So he's filling my rear view mirror and trying to get by me. And he's a good racer. I love racing around him. I've had some pretty good battles with him over the last 2 years, and it looks like he made a little mistake there and fell back a little bit. But he comes charging up here after the kink. He kills me in the kink and has a lot of speed through this back straightaway section. So what we're gonna see is he closes a lot after the kink. You can start to see him inch up to me here, and he makes a move pretty much immediately here. In the braking zone, he moves to the right, and from this point on, we're alongside each other. You can't see him because you can't see out my window, but right now he's on my right-hand side. We go through these corners. This corner here, I had to check up a little bit more than normal in order to use that curb and give him space. And he's right alongside me here, and as we brake, you'll see him launch by. But he was on a very unoptimal line there, and he had to do that little bit of a last checkup at the end. So I got the momentum. I was on the right line. I got to the throttle sooner than him, and I had that good bit of pull, especially after that 4th gear shift where I beat him to the line by just a few tenths. And so Austin had put me in 10th, and then Lewis momentarily put me in 11th, and passed him back to the line to secure that top 10 finishing position. And the battle just felt great. I was so proud of it. I knew I was in the top 10, and I had pulled it off. It was a great end to the weekend. It was a fun but difficult weekend. We had gone through a lot of changes to my car. Carlos in particular had a hellish 2 weeks before the event where he figured out that he needed a new motor in his car, and he didn't have one. So he had to prepare another motor and figure out how to make it work with the Bosch Motorsport electronics in the car. He got it all working, and then in qualifying afterwards, he figured out that it was down on power. He figured that out, picked up a lot of pace, and really had an awesome result. I think he finished this race in P7, which was a great result, one of his best, again, based on merit and hard work. So we had a good weekend. We had a lot of fun. We were on the dyno a lot. Carlos, I think 2 or 3 times. I was on 3 times. Once on my own, once they called me to the dyno for a compliance check, and then a 3rd time on my own. And I found that the dyno varied a lot more than I thought it did. It was always legal, and I passed my compliance check, but the numbers I saw throughout the weekend were pretty large. But anyway, that's the end. We're back in the paddock, and I appreciate you checking out this video and the race report. Thanks for following along. Hope you enjoyed it.